I will, though I had prepared it for India focused, these are applicable in general, and I will focus more on, though not prepared for in-house councils, but I will focus on in-house council because that is probably the focus today. Now the costs are there. If we go to the present the amendment in Indian Act, see the cost regime has been very widened. But in general, there are if you go to Red Fund and Hunter and others, the first three are the costs which are related to the tribunal or to the arbitration and to the parties. As per the ICC report, 82% is the cost to the parties. So where one has to need to focus really on the cost savings. Now, regarding time, though my friends have spoken earlier that we have got in India amended Act 12 months time period, but there is a catch there, and it is not going to solve the problem. Reason is that the 12 months period starts from the arbitrator entering into the reference. It means if it is a sole arbitrator when he receives his appointment letter, and if it is a three arbitrator, the last arbitrator receives his appointment letter. And in India, due to ad hoc arbitration and mostly appointment of arbitrator in international commercial arbitration by Supreme Court or otherwise by high courts, the appointment of arbitrator itself takes a lot of time. So under section 21, the arbitration commences when the respondent receives the request for arbitration. The arbitrator doesn't enter into reference on that very day. So there will be a huge gap between the actual pre-arbitration time, and that problem is need to be addressed, cannot be by a statute, but by the way this is implemented. And the second problem is this post-arbitration time. I do not think there will be any other jurisdiction in the world which will have so many case laws on Section 11 on appointment of arbitrator, which is typical to India. If you go to any arbitration book, the biggest sections and pages will be on Section 34 and Section 11, challenge to arbitral awards and appointment of arbitrators. In most jurisdictions, appointment may be dealt by the independent, autonomous, credible institutions. So the case laws don't come. Here it is handled by high courts and Supreme Courts. So the pre-arbitral and the post-arbitral time is the biggest peculiarity probably which need to be addressed in addition to normal arbitration process. And in both these phases, I think the in-house counsels have a big role to play. It is also important to see in cost and time that whether it is an international commercial arbitration or a domestic arbitration, whether it is institutional or ad hoc, as my friends previously have spoken, I will not elaborate on this because the fee structure does not apply for institutional arbitration, the guided, and even there is a clue there. They say the High Court has to frame rules, and most of the High Courts have not framed rules in India. And I had a case where the arbitrator said that the High Courts have not framed rules, so we don't agree to this fee structure. They wanted to charge more. And two of them were retired Supreme Court judges. But basically going to the whole statutory scheme, Section 18 says parties will be treated with equality and full opportunity, like ancestral model, unlike the English law where they are to be treated fairly and impartially and with reasonable opportunity. There is also a provision of undue delay against and expenses. This has been tried by Indian councils mostly to mean that means absolute opportunity. You can get any amount of discovery, any type of additional documents in every stage, though I don't agree with this. And Section 18 cannot come for full opportunity there. Section 18 only says presentation of the case. So reading Section 18 to Section 24, which provides that again there is a procedure which can be agreed by the parties or tribunal to be fixed, and oral arguments and evidence is to be done day-to-day basis. And also there is a power to the arbitrator to put exemptions and not to give. I think this delay can be done then, but the arbitrator has to exercise his mandate fully and properly. All these things are done together and these can be avoided. Others in general, same as the ancestral law, evidence and CPC does not apply or not bound by the parties, and then parties can agree, otherwise tribunal can make a thing. Section 23 I have covered, Section 24, 25, yeah. Now, here again, like ancestral law, we have a provision for 80 appointed, tribunal appointed experts. And so far party appointed experts are concerned, these are covered under general provision where parties have a freedom to agree to a procedure. So that will come. The biggest problem here is this, if court assistance in getting evidence. And for that, there will be difficulty if at all it is to be done. My previous speaker has said whereabouts drawing about adverse inference. But if a document in possession with the opposite party, Section 19 does not empower the arbitrator to force a party to get a document in possession of another party. Though it has all the powers to weigh admissibility, materiality, everything, but arbitrator cannot force a party to get a document. So the provision is of getting court assistance. Once you get into the court assistance, then the time is out of your control. And that is one thing has not been addressed. Neither statute gives any time frame that in what time. And again, the court, if it is even an international firm incorporated in India, then court will be the district court, not the high court. So that is where the challenge is so far getting into documents. So that is for court assistance. Fast track arbitration, I myself has done 3-4 cases on fast track. It works well when the facts, these are not very complex cases. And even the only problem is that it says unless the clause provides so, at the time of reference to arbitration, parties may agree. And at that point of time when the things are becoming adversarial, whether the parties will agree and come to that, that is an issue to be discussed, because they may not agree at that stage for fast track arbitration. Cost regime has been discussed by Mr. Ravi Shankar. And it is quite now wide, and what is expected, if arbitrator is not giving cost properly, he has to also record reasons for that. So it is simply earlier the arbitrator used to write that you can see that there is an ICC commission report on cost and time are overrun, and there are good provision, and some of these have gone into ICC rules also. These do apply here also. I have not written down everything here. It involves to where you can have a single sole arbitrator, then you can see instead of 3 arbitrators. Even the arbitration clause can be written that the same big contract can also have small disputes or big disputes. You can have a provision that whether you go for sole arbitrator or 3 arbitrators depending upon the type of disputes or the quantum of disputes. And more important is that whether counsels have time or are they experienced, whether arbitrator has time and has experience. And we can have this case management, case review meetings. These are general provisions which cost management can be done. And filing your statements of facts properly, which helps reducing time later on. These are some of the standard measures. Conferencing, even witness conferencing will help in reducing both cost as well as time. So these are some of the general methods. which are done. So here I have made a slide on India-specific problem, and where in addition to the general guidelines which are already available, and where the in-house counsel has a role to play. Now, pre-arbitral phase, I will start with basically the writing of the arbitration clause itself, where in-house counsel has a big role. Any arbitration clause mostly only writes that arbitration will be done under such and such act or this. And for international commercial arbitration, even sometimes they are not specifying the applicable laws, they are not very clearly specifying seat. So if drafting is much better, is done properly, then a lot of time and cost can be saved. Then this, in most of them are, as I say, in India, these are arbitrations. Now in India, the most arbitration is government and public sector. And the drafting of that is with the government or public sector. The other party simply signs on the dotted lines. So the problem here appears that how these organizations which are drafting the contract,
certain provisions which are not legally tenable, and those things do go up to the courts. Even objections are done, and these are related to, sometimes there is a time limit. As you know, section 28B of the Contract Act does not allow it to prescribe any time limit to even compromise the right, not even remedy, and beyond less than the limitation period. But there are arbitration clauses, and then they don't refer to the claims, then it goes to the High Court or Supreme Court, and then it appointed. Similarly, there are accepted matters. These are not being referred, though there are court rulings that whether it is accepted or not, it is disputed. Let the arbitrator decide. But the drafting of clauses and its operation in pre-arbitration stages and till appointment of arbitrator, these are taking a lot of time,
which need to be addressed by in-house counsels properly. Again, in ad hoc arbitration, no arbitration clause will give a detailed procedure about how arbitration to be conducted. So if you are going for an institutional arbitrator, has to lay down the proper procedure, which is per section 19(3). Another problem I find is that there are frivolous claims and counterclaims. The pre-arbitration process is pretty long. Still the counsels, they do not frame their or work out their claims or counterclaims properly during the long time. They start the process after the arbitrator is appointed, and then they seek adjournment or seek with the time frame after once arbitrator is appointed. It is very difficult that arbitrator will give much extension of time for on these accounts. So these can be addressed. Now documentation is a big thing. See, since documentations are not properly done, so the oral and cross-examination increases, and also the global claims are made because they are not documented, so they can't, the causative links are not established. So the trend here is that they will dump a huge documents over on the before the tribunal, and then try to establish how these are linked and this. Otherwise, they are simply going for global claims. So if the documentation, the in-house counsel has a big role in this. And the standard thing that we don't have a professional pool of arbitrators. Similarly, a bar. So this is something we addressed, and this by appointment of retired judges, it has not worked. And now it is time when people don't, it is in India, it has become a retired man's vocation, arbitration. So now we need young people and in their 30s and 40s to come to arbitration and act so that they mature properly and professionally. So this is something where institutional development is required. And our institutions should have proper infrastructure and skilled manpower. That is very important. If supporting manpower in institutions is very critical. So these are, I have already dealt with this. We have to create trust in public authorities to go for institutional arbitration. And in-house counsel have a role. I have already spoken on this. Then another thing I will say, why this appointment of arbitrator, though model laws permits it, not by an independent, credible, autonomous institution, why it is in high courts and Supreme Courts. This will cut down a huge amount of time and bring credibility into the systems. And if it goes to High Court and Supreme Court, invariably the appointment is of a retired judge. And this is how it is working in India. Instead, it has to be professionals to be appointed who has domain as well as legal knowledge. And if it is done by through a autonomous, independent appointing institutions without conflict of interest, a lot of problems can be solved. Similarly, accredited arbitrators, use of technology, adopting modern culture of arbitration. Now, judicial, this Commercial Court Act has come, but still these are to be in various districts and others to be set up actual implementations. So unless these judicial infrastructure developed and we have trained our judges to handle arbitration, so this is one issue need to be addressed. One more important thing is that there has to be latitude for policy decision and audit, and this has gripped the whole system of government decision making, so that has to be addressed, otherwise the effectiveness of this will not be there. So these are, I have summarized with this, and the arbitrator has to effectively conduct, including the various